first LAN tournament was like I heard Freakazoid talk about his first LAN tournament. It's funny because he was like a teenager. I wasn't even a teenager. So I have two. I have technically like. Okay, so my first LAN experience is different than my first LAN tournament. My first LAN experience, I wish I could find you guys a picture. I need to find this picture. There's basically a picture of me with long blonde hair down to right here. I went to this. So this was a BYOC LAN. So it wasn't necessarily a tournament. It was like a local tournament. But I guess it was my first LAN. I had hair down to here, and you know those like chairs they bring into a convention that everyone sits on, because they're just foldable chairs. Well, I had to stack four of those on top of each other just to be able to sit at the height of the desk, or maybe even five. I don't even remember how many, but if I put all those up, um, we're in this high school called High Tech High in their auditorium. So Bill Gates makes these high schools. They're in San Diego. They're his high school, and everyone's like a technology person there. Like you have to learn how to use a computer, for instance, and there's different technology classes. So we're in the middle of one of their auditoriums. So some of their staff people there helping run the LAN and stuff. It was really fun. I wore my PJs there. I wish I had my pictures ready for this one. But basically, if you guys can visualize it, back in the day, we didn't have LCDs. So there's this little 13-year-old, what everyone thought was a girl. I wasn't even 13. I think 12, probably 11 or 12 actually. With my long ass blonde hair, my voice, everyone's like, okay, that's a little girl. I'm carrying a monitor that's like a 21-inch CRT, so it's probably like 30, 40 pounds. Walking through this auditorium hall with the VGA cords dragging on the floor. First thing I do when I get into the auditorium, I try to peek over my head and see where my desk is. I go to or see where a desk is that I'm setting my monitor on. I go to set this monitor down like on the side next to this doorway, and immediately just undershoot the desk, fall forward with my monitor, and just crack the top part of the plastic all over the ground. I was like, oh my god! Does the monitor still work? Well, luckily it didn't touch the front. I was still ready to play. So we go in there and play. Commanders TV, welcome to the sub team. So I'm in this like auditorium hallway trying to find out the group of guys. It gives you the group of guys that I'm with. It gives you like a seat reservation number. I had the seat in the back of the room, and it's kind of had a map. So I walked to the back of the room, and I see a couple of my friends were already there. So I knew my buddy James and my buddy Preet, Anand, and James Shirley. I remember, and they were sitting there, and I was set up. And as I set up, I was just started warming up, and these guys came over and started watching me play. And James was like, yeah, I dare when you guys 1v1 him, and they're talking about me. And this other friend there who worked at High Tech High and who was like, he was on the High Tech High Counter-Strike team. There was only one team at High Tech High, and they're the team who started this whole initiative. This is like their strat caller, Melvin, and he's like, yo, I want to 1v1 this little kid. They said supposedly this little kid named Nothing was one of the better players coming to this tournament. But there's this other team that had already won, and I'm trying to remember what their team name was, but I still have my buddy is STK. He was on their team. But something SD LAN or some set of numbers, but they were the team who had won the last High Tech High LAN. So they're all like watching me warm up, and I'm just trying to set up. And at the time, warm up is like playing a pub server. So, all right, Prospect, yeah, I'll take a look. So Melvin ends up letting me warm up, and then he says we're gonna 1v1 for your entry fee to the LAN and a hot dog or something at the concession stand because they had their own concession stand there. So by the end of the night, because he didn't want to do it, this is a LAN by the way from like 8 p.m. till 8 a.m. You go all night. By the end of the night, he finally wanted to play because we like skipped it and played like team matches. So by the end of the night, we played for money, and I just embarrassed him, and he still talks to me to this day. I saw him randomly. I was getting Mexican food, and I saw him, and he was with these like two girls, and they're all drunk. He's like, "Oh my God, Jordan, nothing Gilbert," and it was super funny. And I saw him recently, but I scraped him like 12-1 on AMAF, and there's just a little kid in the background with just like long blonde hair, sounding like a little girl, and everyone was just like that was like the highlight of my first 1v1. And yeah, so that LAN segues into the first real LAN tournament I ever played with that team. Was the following weekend we played a LAN called Dark LAN, which was up in LA, and that's where I met some of the first Southern California players of the time. I think Mo might have even been there, Mo and Clown. This is like 2004, and my mom drove us up. So this is, I don't know if you guys ever know, have you ever watched my old country movie? I'm kind of doing two stories in one. So that was the first part. That's how I started getting recognition in the San Diego community. The little 12-year-old girl beating the shit out of people in 1v1 tournaments. So I used to always challenge people to 1v1. You know what I'd do? I would get their phone numbers. And since I didn't know how to get on Vent at a young age, or like Ventrilo, I think it was Roger Wilco at the time, I'd get everyone's phone numbers and I'd call them and I'd put the phone on my shoulder and I'd one versus one them while I was on the phone just because I wanted to hear how mad they would get. And they would be like, become my friends. But they're like, I remember calling this one person and the guy's mom was like, you have this little kid calling you to play. And like I heard her in the background. I was like, damn right she does. Your son's about to get your ass kicked by this little kid. And I'm sitting there on the phone with this phone on my shoulder just trying to 1v1 people. Because like that, like I had friends from hockey and friends from like the charter school I was going to, but I never had friends who really liked to play Counter-Strike with me till this year. And then I made a bunch of my friends that I still know to this day. And so I'm sitting there on the phone, and I would call people, and I would try to get them to play one versus one with me. And then eventually I got a gaming headset with the program and was able to play. It sounds like you're a bit of a cunt. No, because they're all my friends, but like that was like things I never said. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I just want to call him just to hear my friend whine and bitch. No, obviously I wanted to play games with him. But when we 1v1, I love being on the phone with him and I could hear him complain. But some of these people ended up joining my first like little LAN team, and we went to a LAN tournament. And it was so awesome. So if you guys ever watch my Counter-Strike 1.6 frag movie, Nothing But Headshots, you'll see him at the end of my name, Nothing Love Mom Bus. Well, the Mom Bus used to be what I called my mom's minivan. She had this leather, like gold Chrysler minivan, and it had bucket seats, leather bucket seats, the TV installed. It was like the sweet minivan, the dopest minivan you can get back at the time. And she drove my whole team up to the LAN, and we had a fucking cooler with milk in it, and we brought cereal and lunch meat and bread to make sandwiches and cereal. My mom brought us those snacks, and we had all of our gear piled on top of that, and then we had 5 seats, and we watched Eurotrip on the way up, which as a 12-year-old was hilarious, because I was just sitting there in the back. Well, a little 12-year-old sounded like a girl. Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me do it in her van every Sunday. And my mom's like, Jordan, oh my God. And I just remember because my friends were all in like an awe. Because as an 11-year-old, my mom's rule was you can't curse in front of other people in public. But as long as you're in private, you can get it all out. So I was like a little demon in my mom's minivan. I'd be playing like rap music that I couldn't say. I'd be like, Mom, look at that girl's boobs. And she'd be like, Jordan, why are you talking like that? I'd be like, Mom, look at them. And I was kind of like a little savage. So, and it was funny because I was really like, I don't know, like once I started playing in the Counter-Strike community and the hockey community as I was like 11, 12, because I used to grow up shy. Like if you ask anyone, like until I was like 11 or 12, I was super kind of like reserved and internalized. I wasn't super outgoing. Once I started playing ice hockey, once I started playing Counter-Strike more, I think I just started like, I don't know, once I made friends, I think my personality started coming out more. And so that was like the time where you could ask my family, where I just was kind of like playing Counter-Strike, driving to those LANs, and I would just be a little, I don't know, around my hockey teammates and my Counter-Strike buds. I was always entertaining or doing something for fun. That's why I love on stream. Everyone always asks me, they think I'm all like high or something because I'm like getting all excited and laughing and having fun and entertaining you guys. But when I start having fun with you guys and I'm legitimately having fun and you guys are laughing and chatting shit, that's like me as a kid, like a 10-year-old. That's what I did. And it is like a high. It's like a natural high. But anyways, that was my first LAN experience. And then the first LAN tournament that weekend that she drove us up to was Darkland, and we fucking played like the second best team in the state the first round, and we lost on Nuke, I remember, and it was first to 13 rounds, and I think it was 13-5 they won.